Good morning, everybody. My name is Eric Ramas, and I am so happy to be sharing this information with all of you. This podcast is focused on how to use music in class. And this information, I'm pretty sure that is going to be useful for you as teachers and probably as for students too. Because remember that in the classroom, we have to be implementing and adapting activities for students. Now, in this episode, I have my dear friend Ellie. How you doing, Ellie?
Hello, Eddie. Very happy to be here sharing with you and all the students and teachers. And of course, we have many benefits to use music in class. Do you know something about?
Actually, that's right. Actually, that is the purpose on this podcast to mention and to discuss, to share with our people right here all the benefits that we have. Of course, we have many benefits, right? And can you start by mentioning the first or some of them, please, Ellie?
Of course, I would like to share with you that one of them is to develop because the language in our students. Remember that the brain is a very receive many benefits to use music in class. So one of them is, for example, a grammar. Do you know why? Because they are practicing the structure in the song.
That's
so
correct.
they have to identify what kind of structure we are using. So very important that it's not difficult for them. It's just repeating the same and they have to identify this structure.
That's correct. As you were mentioning, let's suppose that we are talking or developing the grammar aspect should, you know? So we have to find information and we have to find songs related to that grammar aspect or grammar topic. So the idea is to increase their grammar level and to improve it, you know? Also, I think that repetition, you know,
Yes.
repetition is another benefit. What can you say about it?
Yes, because all the time they are repeating once and again the same word. So they have to identify in every place or include in other environment using the same word or another word.
And you know, another consequence, of course, a positive consequence is that through their repetition, they can improve and they can make it better their pronunciation.
Yes, and what do you know about the new words? Vocabulary
right.
in this case is very important.
All right, all right. You know, if we talk about music, especially if we analyze the lyrics that they have, we face something really interesting, you know. I'm talking about the culture because whether we want it or not, or if we have analyzed it, you know, when they are singing, when we talk about the lyrics, they include culture elements, you know, aspects. Do you think that is a benefit? Can we consider that as a benefit?
Sure.
Yeah.
Success in society, remember, music is the fabric
Yeah.
of our society.
correct.
That's the idea. They have to practice, they have to sing the song, for example, and of course, the abilities, they shape the character. Do you know?
That's right.
So it's important to practice with music in class, and you have to face this a new activity. This is a new strategy to use and to get motivation for them.
That's right. That's a very important word, motivation. Some teachers think that probably you are wasting time when you want to adapt music in class. And I think that it is not like that. Actually, you can motivate and you can cheer them up, you know? Of course, you have to really take your time, as I was mentioning before, to choose the song, what kind of trendy songs we have, you see, because they are young and they want to listen cheering music, you know? Okay, now that we have mentioned culture, there is also another aspect that is really important. And I'm talking about formal and informal language, you know? When we listen and when we analyze the lyrics, depending on the music style or the music genre, the lyrics can be more formal or more informal, you know?
Yes.
And that's another benefit because you can make a difference between them. Do you think so?
Yes, of course. The left side of the brain is better developed with music. Do you know that? So the songs can help imprint information on your minds.
Yeah.
And when they are practicing a song, they practice formal music, formal vocabulary, but they have to practice in different environments. So they have to identify that. So I think it's important that music is a language and you have to practice every day with this, but you have to be prepared. You have to think, what do you want to focus on this?
And you know something? There is something that we have to mention in this case. If we are talking about adapting music in class, it doesn't mean that you have to do it the whole period, right? You don't have to spend 30, 40 minutes in your class. It has to be just, some teachers take it as icebreakers, warm up, I don't know, maybe just grammar boosters or something like that. So it's not to spend all the time in your class. It's just to take 5-10 minutes at the most. And I am pretty sure that students are going to be more motivated, The information that we have talked so far is, let's say, the general information or the benefits that are clear for some students and for some teachers. But at the same time, there are some other benefits that many teachers do not pay attention so much, I'm talking about, and you mentioned something about it at the beginning, development of reasoning in the language, right? Reasoning. Probably that word is not really familiar with for some teachers, but it's really important, because remember that the idea is to make an analysis, right?
Yes.
To make connections, to link ideas between, as you said before, grammar, new words, formal language, informal language. So in that case, you are reasoning. It's kind of amazing, and it's incredible how your brain, as you mentioned that, the left side of the brain. So it's amazing how you can connect, right? If you really concentrate and if you really focus on the information, you can ask your brain to work,
Yes.
Okay, that is one in one hand. In the other, coordination. That coordination sometimes becomes a little hard for them,
Yes.
What do you think about it? How can we improve it? Or what do you think?
Remember that shape the character too, and they form discipline. When they are using music, they have to wait for something and they have continue. So they have many benefits to use music in class, and that's one of the reasons that we have to use. First, because they are forming themselves. So
That's correct.
They are reasoning, as you said, and they have to form the character, and of course, they have to keep an order in class. So that's important too.
Yeah, coordination has become something that students lack, right? And if you as a teacher try to work with that, if you really pay attention to some specific activities to follow this process, you can improve even their fluency. I don't know if you have had the experience of having oral presentations in your class. At least it has happened to me. That's the way it happens to me. And once they are in front of the classroom because they are giving their oral presentations, not only they become nervous, but the coordination stops failing, starts failing, I'm sorry. So the idea is that if you really focus on the coordination, you can improve the fluency, because sometimes teachers or students think that fluency is just to speak faster. And that's not the only aspect that we have to take into account. Also, it means that you have to pronounce the words on the right way. If you want to make a pause between sentences, all that information is fluency, coordination. Now, before going on with the information, now that we are talking about music, do you really like music?
Of course.
Because that's something important, because we need to like it,
Yes.
Yeah. What do you have on mind, a special song that you remember now? Let's suppose that I am your teacher and I tell you, hey, listen, Ellie, would you like to listen to some music? Which song would you like to hear? Which would be?
Could be Thriller, because they
Michael
love
Jackson.
really this song because they like to sing and they like to dance too. So that's the idea, that you have to be careful with that, because not just to motivate to speak, just that no is not enough. They want to be part of the song. They have to be part of the class, and they really love these kind of activities.
Yeah, and when you are finding some songs or some kind of music, you don't have to follow a specific pattern, because since we are talking about music, you have a vast ideas on that. So it means that you can take your time to find some songs, especially if you want, because you know that we have people who sing faster than others. Some others, the information that they are just mentioning in the lyrics and in using their voice, of course, is easier to understand. Sometimes it's not that easy. For example, just to mention something, I like hip hop, and rap music, and that's a mess, right? That's really complicated to understand. For me, it's kind of hard, and even for students. So depends on the kind of information that you want to transmit to them in other words, right? Also, another interesting fact is that, and it's amazing, because just because the students are young, we think that they just like current music. I have heard so many comments from my students, and they say, hey teacher, have you heard this or the other song? And it's an old song, a very dated song. I said, hey, listen, but why you like that? Because you're so young and that's an old song, So I think sometimes it is not the kind of music. It's just to make it interesting for them, All right.
Something important, Eric, that is important to mention today is when they are making, for example, a presentation, they have to analyze and practice the words, the new words that they learn singing a song, for example.
Yeah.
So that's the idea, that they have to use the structure that we were talking about in the song, and they have to practice when they are doing or making a presentation. And they are using that is because they really love the activity that you did.
Excellent. That's something really important. We think, or some teachers think, that students don't like it, but yes. Just to give you an example, it's just an anecdote. Last year, well, actually in the last 2 years, since we were working virtually first and then with the hybrid modality, I adapted that in every single class, of course, in my time, I was starting with just a fragment of some songs, right? I didn't play the whole song, because it would take so much time, but just 1 minute and a half from the song. And believe it or not, it was really useful and important because I was catching their attention, you see? Maybe they didn't know the lyrics. Maybe they were not so good at English, but they were listening and they were singing. In that moment, they were just practicing, repeating. So it's really important. Okay, there is something also that we have to mention, and we can't forget to mention this benefit. I'm talking about the auditory skills. That this is something, maybe one of the most important elements that we try to get, right? Or the benefits that we try to get from it. Do you remember something? Have you had any experience in your teaching career about this?
Yes, I think it's important to mention that they are working in teamwork. And really, they like this kind of activities for that reason, because they want to be in a group working, and they want to be the first. They want to be all the time the best of the class. I think this is something like that. Or can you explain me more?
Well, when we talk about auditory skills, as you were mentioning, yeah, it helps a lot what you said, but also remember that it is connected to our ear, the kind of ear. We try to develop the listening ability, So you start identifying, recognizing, making different differences between different sounds, Also, you can pay attention to the kind of voice that the people have when they are singing. if we go beyond and if we try to think about the musical ability, remember that the musical ability is part of the multiple intelligences. You see, we have also, that is another aspect that we should talk a little bit later on, about the multiple intelligences in English, because they help us a lot. But they can start identifying musical instruments, you see, just for instance. So the auditory skills really help. Another thing that is also important, is if we talk about the auditory skill, we talk about the emotional effect that the song may have in the student. I don't know, just to tell you something. If I hear hip hop or rap, the tone of voice, the way they sing is kind of more rebellious. You see, even the gesticulation, the attitude they have. So you can get some emotional things from the singer. Okay, let's suppose another example. If you listen romantic songs or romantic music, you can get a different emotional thing. I don't know. I always try to vary the songs, you see. Do you have any experience about this?
I think students love this kind of activities, and that's the reason. Remember that the age that they have, in this moment, they are always in love with the time, with the song, with I don't know. So this is important that they have socialized with others and with music, and they practice, of course, using this kind of music to demonstrate all they feel. Yeah. So that's important, I think so.
Yeah, that's really curious what you said, because it's not only to see and analyze the feeling that the singer may have in that moment, but at the same time, what kind of reaction you as a listener will have. And that is another a positive consequence of using music, because you can improve your auditory skill. I was checking my phone, just yesterday, related to this topic, and I found something interesting. I was checking some websites, and the conclusion is that, a very professional one, and I hadn't thought about it, is that if we talk about the auditory skills, the music or the students, by adapting music in class, students can fight stress,
Oh, great.
And also, if the music, depending on the style of music, they can get suited, so they can get relaxed. Well, I think that it seemed to me really interesting. And I was analyzing and I thought about it for a while and said, yeah, this is true, because, wow, sometimes, that students, they manage a lot of stress and they don't know how to cope with it. So using music can help you. Of course, it doesn't mean that you're going to be, the best thing in the world, but you can get some help if you want to start your class,
Yes.
Have you faced stressed students a lot?
Of course. Remember that we are facing after the pandemic, they are facing many changes. Coming back after 3 years, more or less, to be at home, nobody could speak with nobody. They were alone at home. So coming back after a pandemic time, I think is very stressful.
It was
for
not
them.
that easy.
Yes, it's not easy for them. I remember that students' needs they have many needs that we have to be careful with that. We have to be careful with the kind of music that we have to use in class too. Remember the age, the level. So that's that I have to pay attention. Remember that.
Yeah. So how has the situation been in your case? You teachers, you students at home. This is something important that we are sharing with you, and we hope that this information can get some benefits on you too, all right? So don't forget that the idea is how to use music in class. You can see the topic right here on the TV, just in case you're just joining this podcast and you don't know or you have no idea about what we are talking about how to use or how to adapt music in class. Okay. Now, there is something that is also important. I think everything is important, in this podcast. You see, so throughout the conversation, I have thought about so many things, some other ideas that we can use and that we can add in the classroom. By the use of music, you see, it increases the engagement from students in school. What does it tell you by using or hearing the expression music increases the engagement of students in school?
I
What
think
idea can you get from it?
I don't know. I'm not sure how much they can feel with a different song. But I think it's very important to take care of the kind of music that they are listening to. Because in this moment, we have many different music that is not good for them. And I think
That's right.
we can focus on what kind of topics we are talking. We are the structure that we are working on. So you have to be helpful for them in this moment.
Yes, and you said something also really relevant. The kind of lyrics. Current music nowadays, they just sing everything they want. Everything that comes to their mind, you see, they just sing it. And it's all right to express their feelings because music is a kind of art and they can express the way they feel. I understand that part. But us as teachers, we have to analyze and to pay attention to what kind of song, because we can teach something that is not proper, maybe. And if the song includes that in the lyrics, we have to, maybe let them understand, teach them how to understand the right from the wrong, if we talk about the lyrics too. Also, in that aspect, when the student increases his engagement, also we have to talk about the commitment, the commitment that the student has. Of course, if he feels motivated, if he feels that he's learning something, of course, that little learning, that little amount is going to help him to be more motivated, right?
Yes.
It is going to cheer him up. Motivation is also important. Sometimes I think that motivation is not the best, from teachers, because remember that we have different kinds of teachers, we have different methods, we have different ways of teaching. Perhaps my way of starting a class differs from you, or maybe mine differs from yours, So that's the idea. So what can you tell teachers to increase motivation in students? How can we do it?
I think it's very important. This is a good topic. And this is another topic.
Yeah. It would take a lot of time to talk about it. Yeah.
But I think they enjoy the class. If they are happy in their class, they are motivation. They have motivation to be there.
Correct.
And something important that we have to take on count is, for example, they are practicing all the time because when they are practicing music, they are singing. So you are practicing English out of the class, if you can see.
That's right.
And that's important too. It's not just inside of the classroom.
Interesting.
And we are practicing outside. And that's good because they are, remember that they are free. Internet is given freedom. So they can use every platform that they want.
Just by a simple click, they can get access to everything.
Yes. So
Yeah.
we have to take count on and be careful with that. So I think motivation in class, it depends of us as teachers.
Yeah, fantastic. That's a great comment, Ellie. Basically because we need to create some other ideas for students, right? You mentioned something. It's not only the time and the moment that they practice in class. The idea is to create some other contexts,
Yes.
right? The idea is to make them practice not only at school, in different places, different moments, you see, at home, if they're chatting with somebody, whenever they are listening to a song, we practice that song in the classroom. It has happened to me, once I remember that I played a song from Dua Lipa. Have you heard that? Dua Lipa is a girl, is a very famous girl, and a singer. And, I talked a song like from her, in the classroom. And we sang it and everything was nice, you know. 2 days later on, one student approached me and said, "Hey, teacher, I want to tell you something." "Okay, come on, tell me what happened." "Yesterday, I heard the song that you talked to me last week or
That's
some days
idea.
before." Really? And I felt also, you know, not only happy, but also it was really rewarding, you know, because
Yeah.
I realized and I knew that the student was practicing in a different context, you see, and not only in the classroom when she, because it was a girl, when she was with me, you know. So that's the point, to create a different context, you know.
And when they are chatting, for example,
Yeah.
they have to write something good or something beautiful to other. So they practice in English too,
That's right.
because they use a phrase or something that they remember, and they have to use in this kind of activities. So they are practicing English all the time.
So as you can see, teachers and students, English and music really works, right? The idea is to find the right ways to adapt it in the classroom. As I said before, we don't have to spend the whole time. Some teachers think that is a waste of time. Not at all. I think that if you really try to get the best from music in the classroom, you can have a great job and the students are going to be happier and more motivated, all right?
We
Some
can
of-
find, Eric, we can find more benefits. Remember that. And this depends of us as teachers.
Oh, yeah.
So remember that it's useful to use grammar, new words, vocabulary, and you can practice teamwork, discipline. So you have to be happy to use music in class. Of course, don't be afraid about it. So you have to do it all the time. These are new strategies help you to be the best teacher for them.
Yeah, that's right. Some teachers are afraid. You
Yes.
said that, you know, and this is something that really happens in reality, you know, because as you mentioned, they fear. They think that the activity will not work. Try it, you know, the teachers, you need to try, you need to adapt it. Little by little, you're going to find the best ways to do it, okay? And finally, you know, there is something that I want to mention at the same time. And I found it in the same website that I was mentioning. Music helps to increase self-confidence in the student in the classroom. I don't know, but when I read this by the first time, I said, well, I talked to myself, yeah, this is true because it helps. If you really work the activity on the right way, you can increase the self-confidence, the self-esteem in students. Yeah. What do you think about this?
I think it's true because I don't know, they are feeling different when they are practicing English because they are important for them.
Yeah.
So that's, I think it's important to practice all the time.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, besides that, if the students see that he or she is having a progress, a little progress, that is motivating.
Yes.
Motivating. And if we want to take advantage of that little interest that the student has shown to us, it means that, wow, we can get the best from the student, you know, because the student is believing. We as teachers also, we need to find the way to motivate students, right? Confirmation words, you know, we really have to pay attention what kind of words we are trying to use with the students in order to get the best from them, right? But in general, that's the way. Also, by the use of music in classroom, this is the last comment that I have here, the student can get more confident, and the student, as you said before, Ellie, the student can be a better team worker. Okay, so Ellie, would you like to add something else at the end? Because we are about to end this first
Something
episode.
that is important is music is a good language.
Yeah.
So please use them.
Yeah.
Use it in class, and I am sure that your class will be the best.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. If you find the ways to use it, believe me, you are going to get a lot of positive feedback from that. And your students are going to be thankful, you know, because at the same time, they will see that you are doing something different, that you're trying to do something different in order to get the best from them. So All of you people at home, we are so thankful with you. Thanks for your attention. I hope, and we hope, thanks Ellie for being here. You see, your comments and your ideas were really interesting, and I'm pretty sure that it was also interesting for you. So this is the first episode. Thanks for your attention, and I hope that you can enjoy this, and of course that you can get a lot of ideas so you can adapt and you can practice this in your everyday classes. Take care. Bye, Ellie.
Goodbye.
Take care.